You just came here for free food and drinks, huh? You were dirt poor back then. The lively atmosphere of the reunion instantly shifted the moment he arrived. He was the classmate who had always mocked me throughout middle school. I bet you can't even afford the entrance fee, can you? If you want, I can cover it for you. Consider it a treat from a college-educated elite to a mere high school graduate like you. Back then, all I could do was endure whatever he said. As painful memories resurfaced, my body stiffened. And then, "Hey, why don't we have a little chat?" A stunning woman in a kimono suddenly linked her arm with mine. She whispered softly in my ear, "Come with me, somewhere quiet, just the two of us." As if no one else in the room existed, she gazed only at me. Letting her guide me, I was led into the shadows, away from prying eyes. And so began a night that would change my life forever. My name is Liam, 25 years old. I work as a sales representative for a small to medium-sized company. Liam, did you send out the postcard? As usual, after coming home from work and preparing dinner, my mom, who still lived in my hometown, called me. "You need to reply properly or it'll be an inconvenience for the organizers. You always put off things like this." Yeah, I know. I'll write it and send it. All right, I'm hanging up now." She was about to say something else, but I cut her off and sighed. I glanced at the papers sitting on my table and grimaced slightly. It was the RSVP card for the reunion. I didn't want to go. That was my honest feeling. The reunion in question was for my middle school class. Speaking of my middle school days, to be honest, they were filled with nothing but unpleasant memories. My parents divorced when I was 3, and I was raised by my mom alone. I grew up in what people call a single-parent household. My mom gave up everything for me. Even when she barely had enough for herself, she made sure I was never hungry. No matter how exhausted she was from work, she sacrificed her rest to take me out on weekends. I loved my mom more than anything as a child. At least, that's how it was supposed to be. But during my middle school years, I had the worst thought imaginable. I was ashamed of her. Liam, why was this school letter in the trash? I was shocked when the other moms told me, tomorrow is the class observation day. One day in my first year of middle school. As my mom scolded me, I sulked and snapped at her. Don't you get it? What did you just say? Wait a minute, Liam. I'm telling you not to come to school, got it? Don't you dare show up. After throwing those words at her, I shut myself in my room. The next morning, I made sure to remind her again, do not come, before ignoring her troubled expression and heading to school. But then, why did you come today? I told you not to. I'm sorry, Liam. I just really wanted to see you trying your best. My mom showed up for the class observation day. She wore a faded, misshapen shirt and a skirt with frayed hems that she had sewn up herself. In her hand was the same worn-out bag she had been using for over a decade. Because of that, This is embarrassing. I can't believe someone like you is my mom. This is exactly why I didn't want you to come. Liam. Back then, my classmates always teased me about my home life. Because I was from a single-parent household. Because we were poor. Because my mom always wore the same worn-out clothes since we couldn't afford new ones. And just like always, the moment my mom walked into the classroom, quiet snickers spread through the room. The classmates sitting in front of me would deliberately turn around to look at me. "Hey, Liam, your mom's here. You can tell right away because she looks so shabby," one of them whispered with a smirk. I was so ashamed I wanted to disappear. I couldn't lift my head for the entire class. And when I got home, I lashed out at my mom. She looked heartbroken as she muttered, "I'm sorry." After that, she never attended another class observation day again. With experiences like that, my middle school years were nothing but miserable. When I moved on to high school, I was no longer in the same class as my worst bullies, so the teasing died down significantly. But there were still many things I had to give up because of my circumstances. One of them was going to university. While classmates with lower grades than me casually chose to go to university, I had no choice but to enter the workforce straight out of high school. People don't get to choose the circumstances they're born into. So I told myself it couldn't be helped and made the most of the life I was given. And honestly, once I accepted it, my life wasn't so bad. My job was fulfilling and I was surrounded by good people. But still, deep down, a small what if lingered. What if I hadn't been raised in a single-parent household? What if my parents had stayed together, and even if we weren't rich, we had a bit more financial stability? There could have been a different life for me. That's how I feel. Maybe that lingering doubt was why I found it difficult to face my mom. Ever since I left home for work, I hadn't returned to visit her once. I really didn't want to attend my middle school reunion. But there was a reason I had to go no matter what. Without hesitation, I grabbed a pen and marked attending on the RSVP card before slipping it into my work bag. And the next day. It's work. This is just for work. Muttering that to convince myself, I dropped the postcard into the mailbox. That was about a year ago. It all started when I was assigned to visit a certain company for a business meeting. My company manufactures disposable amenity goods like toothbrush sets and hairbrushes for hotels and inns. We may not be a big company, but our products are well regarded in the hospitality industry, and we even do business with prestigious traditional inns. Still, I never expected that company to personally request a direct meeting with us. And I certainly never imagined I would be the one they specifically requested to handle it, especially since my performance at work wasn't particularly outstanding. Well, just do your best. If you land the deal, great. If not, at least come back in one piece. Even my boss, looking confused, sent me off, and I headed to the business meeting feeling like I was in a dream. The company I was visiting was Harris Resort Group, a major hospitality chain that had rapidly expanded over the past decade, managing luxury hot spring inns all across the country. I was about to step into the headquarters of one of the biggest names in the industry. However, an even bigger surprise was waiting for me when I was shown into the reception room. "Wait, Maddie?" "Yep, long time no see, Liam." Unbelievable. The person who sent the business offer was a woman I knew well. It was Maddie, my classmate from middle school. "You haven't changed a bit. It's kind of reassuring, actually." Ah, is that so? Maddie laughed brightly, her voice full of excitement. She, on the other hand, had changed a lot. She had always been considered cute back in school, but now she was a stunning woman. Dressed in a sharp suit with her sleek, glossy hair perfectly tied up, she had the aura of someone highly capable and confident. I'm currently training to take over the company. I've been rotating through different departments to gain experience, and this year, I'm working in sales. I see. So this company is. Come to think of it, maybe I shouldn't have been so surprised to see her here. Harris Resort Group was owned by her father. Starting with just a single hot spring inn, he had rapidly expanded the business, turning it into one of the most powerful resort chains in the country. And Maddie, as his only daughter, was both the heiress and future leader of the company. Anyway, I heard you were interested in our products. Thank you for considering us. The unexpected reunion had almost made me forget the reason I was here. Realizing that I needed to focus, I quickly shifted the conversation to business. Maddie, however, simply smiled. See? You really haven't changed, Liam. You're still the same as before. Thanks, I guess. Haha. Relax. We used to talk all the time in middle school, remember? You don't have to be so formal with me. Oh, well, I don't think that's appropriate now. It was true that we'd been fairly close back in middle school. But things were different now. The power dynamics between us were incomparable. If I said or did the wrong thing and upset her, even a small company like ours could easily be crushed under her father's influence. So, I couldn't afford to take this lightly. Can you have this order ready by the weekend? I got a complaint from a customer about the toothbrush material. I need other samples sent out today, as many as possible. Requests like these, often unreasonable, kept coming, and I had no choice but to somehow make it work. Thanks to Maddie securing a major contract with us, my sales performance skyrocketed and my boss was thrilled. But I never expected that. For an entire year, I'd be constantly caught up in Maddie's demands. And then, about a week ago, I received a message from her. I need to talk to you about something important regarding the future. So I went to see her. As soon as we sat down in the reception room and I was about to get to the main topic. Huh? It happened so suddenly. Maddie, who had been sitting on the sofa across from me, suddenly stood up. She walked over and, without hesitation, sat down right next to me. Maddie? Hey, Liam, you haven't sent your response yet, have you? Uh-huh. For the class reunion. I'm the organizer this time. You saw my name on the invitation, right? Yeah. With her staring at me from such close range, I found myself nodding awkwardly. At the same time, I remembered the mixed feelings that washed over me when I saw her name on the invitation. During those tough middle school years, she had always been kind to me, bright and cheerful. She had been a source of encouragement. But I also had some painful memories associated with her. You'll come too, right, Liam? Almost everyone else has already confirmed their attendance. Well, I promise it'll be a great night. Please, Liam. Hey. Maddie kept inching closer, pressing me harder for an answer. I was being backed into the edge of the sofa, completely out of escape routes. And then she pulled out a card that felt like a total unfair move. We can discuss business at the reunion, over drinks in a relaxed setting. You'll come, won't you, Liam? Wait, what? And just like that, I had no choice but to attend the reunion. I was practically being blackmailed into it. My company's future was on the line. The venue was none other than Maddie's family-owned traditional hot spring inn in our hometown. Not only had she reserved an entire banquet hall for the event, but she was even offering overnight accommodations for those who wanted to stay, a ridiculously generous move. Since this was a high-end inn that was normally impossible to book, it was no surprise that nearly all of our classmates had RSVP'd. Which meant I was inevitably going to run into people I really didn't want to see. This is for work. It's all for work. I just have to talk to Maddie and leave right after. Convincing myself, I made my way back to my hometown for the first time in ages. But when I arrived at the inn, something completely unexpected happened. Liam, dude, it's been forever. How have you been? Liam, you never come back, so we were all worried about you. Hey Liam, long time no see. One after another, my former classmates gathered around me. They bombarded me with warm words, asking about my well-being and expressing their joy at seeing me again. As I stood there, overwhelmed, a realization hit me. Not every memory from middle school was painful. There were classmates who had treated me like a friend. Some never laughed at me. Some even stood up for me when I was being bullied. And I had happy memories with them too. Yeah, I remember you all. It's really been a long time. I had hesitated so much, but in the end, I was glad I came. Over delicious food and drinks, we talked and laughed about old times. To my surprise, I was having a genuinely great time. See? You're glad you came, aren't you, Liam? Ah. Just as I found a quiet moment to myself, Maddie appeared with a bottle of beer in hand. She was wearing a stunning blue kimono, looking absolutely radiant. I told you it'd make sure you had fun. She smiled brightly, looking almost dazzlingly beautiful. Feeling the heat rush to my face, I took a big gulp of beer to cool down. Maddie, could it be? Did she insist so strongly on me attending? Not because of work, but just to make sure I reunited with our old classmates? I was about to ask her when. Suddenly, the fun atmosphere came to an abrupt end. Maddie, don't bother pouring this guy a drink. He's just here to freeload anyway. Along with those words, I felt a sudden thud against my back, a hard shove. Startled, I turned around. A man stood there grinning, a glass in one hand, his other hand clenched into a fist. You're probably planning to leave without even paying your share, huh? That's just how you poor people are, always looking for a free ride. Nathan. The guy who nudged me was, of course, also a classmate from middle school. Poor little kid from a single-parent household. Your mom always looked so shabby. Did you even show her the class observation notice this time? Everyone's excited to see what kind of outfit she'll show up in. She had always been the loudest when it came to mocking me. Nathan, your face is bright red. Maybe you've had a bit too much to drink? Maddie gently tried to rein him in. But Nathan wasn't the kind to back down so easily. He was the reason my middle school years had been miserable. And if he hadn't changed since then. My gut feeling turned out to be spot on. Hey, if you can't afford the reunion fee, I'll cover it for you. I mean, I graduated from college and got into a decent company, so it's nothing for me. Consider it charity for a high school graduate like you. Nathan. Maddie's voice sharpened instantly. But Nathan, still smirking, now turned his attention to her. You've really grown into a beauty, Maddie. That kimono looks great on you. How about ditching this pathetic loser and coming to drink with me instead? As he spoke, he casually reached out to put his arm around her shoulder. But Maddie swiftly dodged, gracefully, effortlessly. And then, with a smooth motion, she took my arm instead. Eh? My heart skipped a beat as she leaned in and whispered near my ear. Shall we talk about work? Just the two of us, somewhere quiet? Yeah. Letting her lead me, I stood up and left the banquet hall with her. Hey, Maddie, you're seriously choosing him over me? Ignoring Nathan's bitter grumbling, we walked down the corridor. We kept going until the noise from the party faded into the distance. Once we found a secluded spot, I finally spoke up. Maddie, so what's this business discussion about? However, just as I braced myself, reminding myself that this was business, Maddie's response caught me off guard. Liam, you're staying here tonight, right? You've had quite a bit to drink. Ah? I figured this might happen, so I made sure to reserve a room for you. Look forward to breakfast tomorrow, too. Oh, thanks, but that's not the point. You said there was something important about work. Hey, Liam, I just have one question for you. Are you seeing anyone right now? Huh? The conversation was veering off in a strange direction. And at the same time, so was Maddie, getting closer and closer, invading my personal space. Knowing you, Liam, you probably have a wonderful girlfriend by now. Lucky you. What do you mean? With Maddie so close, her kimono brushing against me, any trace of my previous buzz had vanished. But now my heart was pounding again, louder, faster. I could barely breathe. Do I not have a chance anymore? Huh? What did she mean by that? The moment the thought crossed my mind, I reached my limit. We should get back. You're the organizer, remember? I panicked. Grabbing Maddie's shoulders, I turned her around toward the banquet hall. Liam, wait, I still need to. We can talk later. Right now, we should head back before people start getting suspicious. If any of our classmates saw us like this, they'd definitely get the wrong idea. Since we weren't actually discussing business, the best move was to return to the party as quickly as possible. Come on, let's go, let's go. Ah, wait, Liam. As I urged her forward, lightly pushing her back, Maddie turned around. I have a favor to ask, she said. A favor? Yes, you see. By the time we returned, the party was still lively, but the crowd had thinned out. It seemed the first round had officially ended, and now only those staying for the second round remained. Finally, Liam, come drink with us. A heavily intoxicated classmate grabbed my arm, eager to pull me in. But unfortunately for him, I had a prior commitment. Sorry, I think I drank too much. I'm not feeling great. What? You okay, man? Yeah, I just need to rest a bit. I'm heading to the restroom. Without waiting for a response, I slipped out of the banquet hall and into the hallway. Sorry for lying, I apologized to my classmates in my heart. A little past here, there's a hidden hot spring that not many people know about. I want to go there later, but it's a bit scary walking alone at night, so. Will you come with me, Liam? Maddie's request was this. She had promised to finish up her responsibilities as the event organizer first, so we agreed to meet later outside my room. That was the promise I made before we parted ways for the time being. A secret hot spring in the mountains, kind of exciting. And more than that, I never expected to be going there with Maddie. Just thinking about it made my heart race. But then, someone suddenly ruined the mood. Hey, I saw you, Liam. A figure stepped into my path, blocking the hallway. Arms crossed, a sour expression on his face. It was Nathan. I just so happened to overhear something about you and Maddie. Going to a hot spring together? What? He had been nearby when we made our plans? That was unexpected, but there was nothing inappropriate about it. All I had to do was accompany Maddie to the hot springs as she requested. And what's it to you, Nathan? This doesn't concern you. Ha, look at you, talking back all confident. You used to just keep your head down and stay quiet no matter what we said. Nathan smirked, bringing up the past just to mock me again. Then, he stepped closer, closing the distance between us. You know it, don't you? A poor kid from a single-parent household like you and Maddie, you live in completely different worlds. Don't get any stupid ideas about her actually liking you. As he whispered those words while passing by me, the excitement I had felt just moments ago drained away. I'd almost let myself believe something impossible. Almost made the same mistake again. Even after what happened back then. It was in our third year of middle school. At the time, I had secretly harbored feelings for Maddie without ever telling a soul. Nathan and the others are so persistent. Just ignore them, Liam. She was the daughter of a businessman who owned multiple prestigious inns. Smart, athletic, and so beautiful that she was the subject of countless school rumors. Yet, despite all that, she never let it go to her head. She was bright, kind, and down to earth. She was perfect in every way, and on top of that, she even stood up for me when Nathan and his gang bullied me. Nathan was right, we were from entirely different worlds. But Maddie never treated me any differently. She never cared that I was from a poor, single-mom household. And before I knew it, I had fallen for her. A year passed, and then, on the day of our middle school graduation, after the ceremony, I was called to meet someone behind the school building. What did you want to talk about, Maddie? Liam. She was already there waiting for me, her face flushed red. She kept glancing at me, then looking down over and over again. And then, as if she had finally made up her mind, she spoke. Liam, I like you. Please go out with me. What? I was completely stunned. Just when I had finally convinced myself to give up on my first love, thinking I was never even worthy of confessing. She had confessed to me instead. Before we go our separate ways, I just had to tell you. Maddie said that with a shy smile. Seeing her like that, my heart skipped a beat as I thought, she's adorable. And before I knew it, I had let myself get the wrong idea. Maddie. I had always liked Maddie too. Just as I was about to confess that to her, it happened. Ha ha ha, you dumbass, you actually fell for it. Laughter erupted from the shadows. Nathan and his usual group stepped out, grinning wickedly. It was a prank. A prank. What? As if Maddie would really like someone like you. Know your place, you damn popper. That was hilarious. Best prank ever, Maddie. Didn't know you had it in you, Maddie. Coming up with a prank like that. What? Did you actually hate Liam all along? As they jeered, Nathan and the others surrounded me, laughing hysterically. Stunned by the shock, I stared at Maddie, who said nothing in her defense. Maddie, was it all a lie? Was it really just a prank? Did you trick me because you hate me? Yes, I don't like you, Liam. Maddie muttered those words and ran off. And since we ended up going to different high schools, that was the last time we spoke. So I must never misunderstand. There's no way Maddie could ever have feelings for me. After parting ways with Nathan, I rested in my room for about an hour. Then there was a small knock on the sliding door, and I heard Maddie's voice from outside. Sorry for the wait. Let's go to the hot springs, Liam. I replied, I'll be right there, and slid the door open. Standing there was Maddie, now dressed in a yukata. What's wrong, Liam? Why are you looking away? No reason. It's getting late, so let's go. Her light yukata emphasized her slender figure. I almost found myself staring, but I quickly looked away in a panic. Of course, I couldn't tell her the real reason. Trying to cover up my reaction, I hurriedly urged Maddie forward, and we left the inn. We followed the directions and walked along a dimly lit path for about 20 minutes. Deep in the mountains, a small hot spring facility stood alone. We're here. This is the place, Liam. Wow, this really is a hidden gem. Of course, we're going in together, right? What? Here, I meant you're going in too, of course. Here, this is for you. Maddie pushed a towel into my hands before stepping inside the building. She smoothly paid for both of our entrance fees and after saying, "See you in 30 minutes, disappeared into the women's bath. And exactly 30 minutes later. Having arrived first and waited, I couldn't help but be captivated by her appearance. Her yukata clung to her slightly damp skin, accentuating her curves. Her fair complexion was tinged with a faint blush from the warmth of the bath. The scent of floral shampoo drifted from her casually tied-up long hair. Everything about her at that moment was unbelievably alluring. Thanks for waiting. Let's hurry back before we catch a chill. Yeah. Are you feeling lightheaded, Liam? Your face is bright red. No, it's nothing, really. She had been teasing me all day, and my heart couldn't take much more of it. It felt like I had experienced a lifetime's worth of heart-pounding moments in just one evening. I quickened my pace, practically leaving Maddie behind as I rushed back to the inn. But for some reason, Maddie followed closely behind me the entire way. Well, I guess I'll call it a night. When we finally arrived in front of the room, I figured we would call it a night. Maddie just stood there, silent and unmoving. And then, "Liam, I like you." Out of nowhere, she suddenly confessed. "What?" "I actually wanted to tell you on the way back, but you were walking too fast and I couldn't find the right moment. So I'm saying it now." "Wait a second, you're joking, right?" "Huh, a joke?" Maddie blinked in confusion, staring at me with wide eyes. It was as if she had confessed to me seriously, not as a joke. "Because it's impossible. Someone as beautiful and wealthy as you couldn't possibly like me. Even though I'm not as poor as I used to be, we live in completely different worlds." "Different worlds? I've never thought about that, not even once. I like you, Liam, just you. Nothing else matters. I've felt this way since middle school." "Just stop it already. I get it." "What do you mean by that?" Our conversation started to turn into a light argument, and I found it harder and harder to control my emotions. Then a voice from my past whispered in my mind. "Isn't this the perfect time to get revenge for what happened back then?" "Enough already, Maddie." "Liam? You're just trying to fool me again, just like in middle school, aren't you? Sorry, but I've had enough of this." Before I knew it, those words slipped out in a colder tone than I had intended. The very next moment, a wave of regret hit me. I had messed up. Because tears spilled from Maddie's pale eyes. I didn't mean to. I really do love you, Liam." For now, just come here." "Whoa." Panicked by her tears, I instinctively grabbed her arm and pulled her into my room. Voices of our classmates echoed from the hallway. "Sorry, did I hurt you?" "No, I'm fine." "And I'm sorry. You weren't lying, were you? When you said you liked me?" "Ah." More tears streamed down Maddie's face. She nodded, sobbing like a child. "I love you. I've loved you since middle school." Once we both calmed down a little, I apologized to her again. "I'm really sorry. I assumed you were lying without even listening. I couldn't believe it." "No, it's natural that you wouldn't believe me. It's my fault." Maddie smiled sadly, her eyes still red from crying. Then she said, "I should be the one apologizing," and bowed her head to me instead. "In middle school, you mean at graduation, right? I know you probably won't believe me, but I never meant to trick you." That day, she had called me behind the school building to confess her true feelings. But Nathan and the others had seen us. They interrupted her confession and assumed it was just a cruel prank. Overwhelmed, she panicked and blurted out that she didn't like me. Not knowing what else to do, she ran away. That was the truth she had kept hidden all this time. "You said it was impossible, Liam, but I have a real reason for why I fell for you." "Can I ask what that reason was?" "Of course." Finally, Maddie smiled a little and nodded. Then slowly she began to speak. About a memory I had long forgotten. It was the spring of our second year in middle school. After school, Maddie had stayed behind in the empty classroom. She sat alone, staring at a freshly returned test paper, tears streaming down her face. What's wrong, Maddie? I just happened to pass by at that moment. It's nothing. In a hurry, Maddie hid the test paper under her arms. She didn't want anyone to see it. A math quiz with a score of only 20 out of 50. Are you okay? Here, use this. I handed her my handkerchief. It was neatly ironed and smelled nice. As soon as she took it, ugh, wah. Maddie completely broke down in front of me, sobbing uncontrollably. After she calmed down a little, she finally opened up. She told me how, as the daughter of a company president, she had been strictly raised to always act with dignity. How teachers and classmates expected her to be a perfect honor student, never allowing even the smallest mistake. How that constant pressure sometimes felt suffocating. And how, on that day, she had gotten so sleepy during the test that she couldn't even answer half the questions. That resulted in the 20-point score on her test. I've never gotten a score this low before. If my dad sees this, he'll definitely get mad. He might even say I'm a disgrace to the family and kick me out. I'm scared to go home. Maddie poured out her fears and started crying again. Seeing her like that, I apparently said something to her. That's it? Huh? Wow, 20 points is actually pretty good. This test was really hard. I only got a 10. But I was always told that getting a perfect score on a middle school test is just common sense. Did your parents tell you that? But do they even know you had a math quiz today? Ah. If they don't know, just keep it a secret. And next time, aim for something like, I don't know, maybe 35 points. For the first time, someone told me it was okay not to be perfect. It made me realize that perfection wasn't the only thing that mattered in my world. You helped me accept the imperfect parts of myself, and it felt so freeing thanks to you, Liam. You were the only one who ever said that to me. That's why. My feelings for you were a perfect 100 out of 100. I fell for you that day. Maddie smiled at me, radiating happiness. And yet, as much as I hated to admit it, I had absolutely no memory of saying any of that. Sorry, Maddie, I don't remember at all. No, don't worry about it. I remember it perfectly, so that's enough. Without a doubt, those were my words. Maddie backed me up. But a slight awkwardness still lingered. Maybe I should have just lied and said I remembered? As I was thinking that. That's just who you are, Liam. Maddie gave me a soft, understanding smile. And at that moment, suddenly I remembered. Wow, amazing. You managed to solve such a difficult problem, Liam. It was my mom's face. Mom. I had a feeling. It must have been your mom. Through you, she was the one who encouraged me, telling me that I was fine just the way I was, even if I wasn't perfect. Yeah. No matter how bad my grades were, my mom had never scolded me. On the contrary, she always exaggeratedly praised me, saying, Liam, you're amazing. To me, that was just normal. It was so normal to me that I never even thought of it as something special. I think that's actually really wonderful. It means you received so much love from your mom that it felt completely natural, right? Yeah. Even something as small as a handkerchief. She always made sure I had a clean, neatly ironed one so I wouldn't feel embarrassed. Back then, I took it for granted, but that too was a form of love. She always bought me new clothes while wearing old, worn-out ones herself. You have a wonderful mom, Liam. Yeah. As I nodded at Maddie's words, a single tear fell onto the tatami mat. My mom always encouraged me, sometimes to the point of exaggeration, so that I wouldn't look down on myself. So that no matter what others said, no matter how much my circumstances held me back, I could live with confidence. Being raised by a single mom doesn't mean I was any less happy than kids with both parents. She taught me that with everything she had. And yet, I was the one who had looked down on myself. I was the one who felt ashamed of being raised by a single mom more than anyone else. Thank you, Maddie. Thanks to her, I finally felt like I could face my mom again. When I expressed my gratitude, Maddie looked at me with a serious expression and said, "Then, I have a request for you, Liam." "What is it?" "Tell me your answer, both from 10 years ago and just now." "Ah, yeah, okay." I straightened my posture and faced her with all the sincerity in my heart. "Maddie, Yes? I've loved you too. Since 10 years ago, I always have." At that moment, Maddie's tense expression melted into a bright, radiant smile. "I'm so happy. Thank you, Liam." Ah. Heat rushed to my face and a strange warmth spread through my chest. This feeling. The moment I realized what it was, I felt an overwhelming love for the woman in front of me. "Can I make a request too?" "What is it?" "Can I hold your hand?" "Of course." She smiled, beaming with happiness, and gently moved closer beside me. Feeling the warmth of her hand, we looked into each other's eyes. Slowly, our faces inched closer, just then. "Oh, right, about that job offer." "Wait, now?" What a timing. I let out a small chuckle, slightly disappointed, but quickly shook it off. Well, whatever. I turned my attention to Maddie's words instead. There would be plenty of chances from now on. And then, the next morning, a strange sound reached my ears, pulling me from sleep. Aha! I jolted awake in shock. The sound I had heard was breathing. Maddie was sleeping peacefully right next to me in the same bed. Oh, right, last night while we were talking, we must have dozed off. It was the first time I had seen my girlfriend's sleeping face. Her yukata was slightly loose from her sleep. She had a surprisingly restless sleeping posture. Even though I felt like I was doing something improper, I couldn't help but observe her closely. And then, Maha? Liam? Why are you in my room? Rubbing her sleepy eyes, Maddie slowly woke up. Panic surged through me as I quickly turned to face the wall, making a clear effort to show I wasn't looking at anything. This is my room. Anyway, I'm facing the other way, so hurry up and fix your yukata. Sorry. I'll fix it right away. Now fully awake, Maddie frantically readjusted her yukata. Just hearing the rustling sounds was enough to make my imagination run wild. and my heart was already racing first thing in the morning. And just as she finally said, "Okay, I'm good now." "Liam, you okay in there? I'm coming in." A loud voice suddenly boomed outside. Without warning, the sliding door burst open. "You said you weren't feeling well last night. We thought maybe you collapsed. And when you didn't show up for breakfast, we got worried." Standing at the entrance were my classmates, the same ones I had been drinking with the night before. At first, they looked relieved to see me alive and well. Noticing the presence of a third person in the room, everyone froze one by one. "Maddie, why are you in Liam's room?" There's a lot to explain, right, Liam?" Yeah, a lot happened, but nothing actually happened. We just spent the night talking, that's all." We desperately tried to explain ourselves, stumbling over our words. Our classmates exchanged glances. And then, "Congratulations." "Uh-huh. This is huge. We gotta go tell everyone." Without another word, they bolted down the hallway, spreading the news like wildfire. And just moments later, the entire inn erupted into chaos. "No way, finally? Congrats, you two. Wish you both happiness." As soon as Maddie and I stepped out of the room, we were instantly surrounded by our fellow classmates, showering us with cheers and congratulations. What is happening? I have no idea. I later found out that apparently nearly everyone in our class had known for years that Maddie and I had feelings for each other. Without realizing it, we had been the subject of an unspoken collective support network. Well, except for one person. "If you're gonna rethink this, now's your chance, Maddie." A loud voice cut through the celebrations, making everyone turn to look. The man who strode in confidently crossed his arms in front of Maddie. Then, in a self-assured tone, he declared, "There's still time, Maddie. You should choose me instead. I mean, why would you settle for some guy who grew up in a single-parent household?" Nathan. This was something I only found out later. Nathan had been in love with Maddie for a long time. That's why he always picked fights with me and why he had interfered with her confession back then. That guy had a bad upbringing. He's just a high school graduate with a low-paying job. And since he's just a high school grad, he won't ever climb the ranks. In contrast, I'd say I'm a far more suitable match for Maddie. Hell, I wouldn't even mind having your father judge who's the better man. I know he'd win. Nathan. Oh, you're still here, Liam? I'm surprised you have the nerve to stand next to Maddie so shamelessly. Guess growing up in a single-parent household leaves you missing something like basic social awareness. Ha! Just like in the past, Nathan laughed, looking down on me with absolute contempt. If this had been the old me, I probably would have hung my head in shame, burdened by my upbringing. But I'm not that person anymore. I think I was lucky. Huh? I'm glad I grew up in a single-parent household. Now I can say that with confidence, thanks to Maddie. Last night had cleared everything up for me. Since my father wasn't around, my mom gave me more than twice the love. That love shaped who I am today. And standing beside me is someone who told me that I had saved her. I can't even begin to describe how proud that makes me. Nathan, you'll never understand, but I'm proud to have been raised by my mom alone. Ha, proud of a single-parent household? That's ridiculous. If you're gonna make excuses, at least come up with a better lie. Nathan sneered, his face twisted with mockery. Then he turned to the crowd. Right, guys? But instead of the support he expected, something completely unexpected happened. Who's making excuses here? Huh? A quiet murmur came from somewhere in the crowd. Nathan blinked in confusion, and then, one by one, voices rose from our classmates. That was seriously the lowest thing you could have said, man. I'm disgusted. What's wrong with being proud of his mom? Liam's 100 times the man you are. He always has been. Don't let this jerk get to you, Liam. Wait, what? Nathan had clearly assumed that, just like in the past, everyone would laugh with him at my expense. But now he stood there, completely shaken, his confidence crumbling as he looked around in desperation. And then, Maddie delivered the final blow. Nathan, Liam has grown into someone far more incredible than you, who hasn't changed at all since middle school. I believe that what matters isn't where someone comes from, but how they choose to grow. What are you saying? I'm saying you're not someone I would ever choose. And I bet my father would say the same. Want to confirm that with him yourself? No thanks, goodbye. Under the weight of countless judgmental stares, Nathan bolted, stumbling over himself in his rush to escape. Apparently, he was so shaken that he became a completely different person afterward. He stopped coming to class reunions, and from what I've heard, his career hasn't been going well either. Well, life is full of challenges. Maybe if he manages to overcome this, he'll finally grow up a little. After that, I now work at the same company as Maddie. That work talk she had brought up on the night of our reunion? It turned out she was trying to recruit me. Her father, Mr. Harris, had apparently taken a liking to my willingness to tackle any challenge head-on. So much so that he ordered Maddie to convince me to join the company. If I ever take over the company one day, having you by my side would mean everything to me. So, will you stay with me forever? Maddie squeezed my hand tightly, looking up at me with those pleading eyes. And in that moment, I had a feeling she was going to be one hell of a CEO someday. Getting used to the job yet, Liam? Ugh, I'm exhausted, Maddie, completely drained. Maddie is not only my girlfriend now, but also my reliable senior at work. The workload at the headquarters of such a massive corporate group is insane, and every day is an intense grind. But with her support, I managed to hold my ground. The department head actually praised you today. He said the recent contract wouldn't have been secured without you. Wait, seriously? My dad also said you're quite impressive. He thinks the hardships you endured as a child gave you incredible resilience. Mr. Harris said that? If even he acknowledged me, then yes, growing up in a single mom household was something to be proud of. Feeling a deep warmth in my chest, I exchanged a smile with Maddie. Hey, Liam, I have a favor to ask. Maddie suddenly leaned in and whispered into my ear. And coincidentally, her request was exactly what I had been planning to ask her. So without hesitation, I nodded. Of course. A month later, I brought Maddie back home with me for the first time in 10 years. Welcome home, Liam. Just those simple words and my mom's unchanged warm smile. With that alone, she forgave me for staying away for so long. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mom. I've been wanting to see you, so I asked Liam to bring me here. Maddie greeted her with a slightly nervous expression. And then I shared the feelings I had said I absolutely had to convey in person. How my words had saved her back in middle school. And how that was only possible because of the way my mom had raised me. The reason I'm so happy now is because of Liam and you, Mom. That's why. I promise I'll make Liam happy. Because I believe that's the best way I can repay you. Maddie. Oh my, Liam, you brought home such a lovely girl. Oh my, oh my. My mom's face brightened with pure joy as she took Maddie's hands in hers. But then, her expression suddenly darkened. Please take care of Liam, Maddie, because I brought him into this world and all I ever did was make his life difficult. Mom. The truth was, my mom had suffered far more hardships than I ever had. In the 10 years I lived on my own, I had come to understand just how much she had endured. I was about to tell her not to say such things, but before I could. That's not true, Mom. Maddie gently squeezed my mom's hands and gave her the kindest smile. Because you gave birth to Liam, because you raised him with so much love. I got to meet him, and he saved me, so thank you. Thank you so much. Maddie. Seeing my mom's teary eyes, I added my own words. She's right. I am proud to be your son, Mom. So please, don't ever say something like that again. Liam. At last, my mom's tears fell. Maddie hugged her gently, wiping away her tears. For a while, they simply held each other and cried. And when they finally looked up at each other, smiling, I couldn't help but smile, too. That moment marked the beginning of a future filled with happiness. For years, I had wondered, what if I hadn't been born into a single-parent household? Would I have lived a different, happier life? But I know I'll never ask myself that question again. Because I've realized happiness isn't determined by where you're born, but by how you choose to live. If I had the chance to choose my birthplace again, I already know exactly where I'd want to be. And this time, too, it makes sure to find happiness. Just like I have now with the people who mean the world to me.